Whoa, coming to you live from HeistCon 2019. We're cruising in with our professional badges thanks to a little help from some old friends. You son of a bitches, I'm in. Hey, and so is Interdimensional RSS, the unofficial Rick and Morty podcast.
Hello, everybody. I'm Travis.
Hello, everybody. I'm Brandon, and welcome to the show where I don't have to do this by myself.
We're back together. We got the crew back together, Brandon. We're doing this thing.
It perfectly placed timing of this episode for us to come back. It's like one of those movies where we get into an argument and like there's a falling out, and then we come back to it, even though the falling out was meeting at Disney World.
We come back stronger, better than ever, and well, okay, maybe not better than ever. By the end of the episode, we'll find out. But yes, from the start, thank you, Brandon, for holding down the fort last week as we attempted to record an episode on the road, but it didn't work out so well. And it's great to be back. Thank you to everyone that listened and enjoyed the last episode. Thank you to those that listened and didn't enjoy it. I just appreciate you listening. But yeah, we're back. We're excited for another episode of Rick and Morty to discuss. If you are new to the show and you want to figure out how you can interact with us, there are many ways you can do that. You can head over to Reddit, either RickandMorty.reddit.com or RickandMortyPodcast.reddit.com to get involved in the discussions about the show. You can hit us up on Twitter. We're at RickandMortyPod. You can also go to www.RickandMortyPod.com. That website has all of our episodes and information about who we are. We're on Facebook. We're on Gmail. You can send us an email at rickandmortypodcast@gmail.com. And you can send us all sorts of ideas. You can also watch live if you want to see what we look like. You can follow us over at twitch.tv/apatheticenthusiasm or over on YouTube, youtube.com/apatheticenthusiasm, where you can subscribe, catch replays of the videos, or watch us live and interact with the show, which some folks are starting to do right now. They're trickling in. So, welcome. Also, T-shirts. We got merch. We got merch, people. If you head over to tpublic.com/store/interdimensional-RSS. I don't know how important the dash is.
Or there's a link.
It seems really important. Well, the link is out there. Check in the show notes, but you can get officially licensed fan art T-shirts, including swag from this podcast. You can get your Interdimensional RSS T-shirts, which some of you have done and shared on social media, and it is still really weird to think about people walking around with our faces on their chests, but thank you for doing that if you did. And the other way that you can support the show financially is, of course, going to patreon.com/RickandMortyPod, where you can donate a few dollars and support this show, help keep the lights on. Thanks to everybody that is doing that. Brandon, what's the haps? Look at that break you had where you didn't have to talk at all. It's so great to be back.
It is so great to have you back, because I can legitimately just space out and look at the Twitch and the YouTube and be like, oh, look, people are talking, and I can type to them while you're talking, and then come back in where you're like, great point, right? And I say,
Brandon, did you hear anything I said? It's like we're doing two separate podcasts mutually alone. It's a great time. It is the pinnacle of podcasting here at Interdimensional RSS.
These are actually asynchronous feeds that Travis just talks to, and then I respond to.
I recorded mine 4 hours ago, and you're finally catching up. I just leave in the gaps, and you expertly fill them. Anyway, let's move into the first segment of our podcast, and that, of course, is semi-pertinent news.
Hey,
Good stuff. One of the favorite things about one of my favorite things about doing these live and live streaming them, and the fact that you've rearranged your office and we get a new perspective about where you're recording, is we can actually see that you have musical instruments in the same room as you, uh,
I'm not
not
lying.
getting used at all.
I'm
Not
not like I
no.
can. There's drums back there. I can do. I can play music sometimes.
Yeah, you could. You
Just
could.
not with voice.
Well, first up in semi-pertinent news, we have some video game news. This is in the mobile gaming spectrum. The classic titan of mobile gaming, Zynga. Is that how you pronounce that company's name?
Yeah.
Ooh. Merge Dragons is a game that the kids like to be playing these days, and they have done a Rick and Morty crossover where Rick and Morty have invaded the world of Merge Dragons, and they sent us like a press release about it, and we're like, yeah, cool. I didn't know anything about Merge Dragons, and then today at work, someone's like, yeah, Rick and Morty showed up in the game I play on my phone. It was really weird. I was like, it's
You're like,
not.
somebody plays
It's
that?
it's not Merge Dragons, is it? And they're like, yeah, it is. I was like, oh, well,
We're,
I knew
we're,
about that officially,
we're,
6 hours before everybody else knew.
did you make the joke? Yeah, the game is called Pocket Mortys. Of course they're in that.
Yeah, they're in there. Fresh new Mortys every week.
You dumb idiot. You dumb
Dumb
stupid
white,
milk
white
toast.
guilt, milked.
Yeah, they hit us up. It feels like last minute. They hit us up on the 21st of November.
Yep.
Zynga did their press person and said, "Hey, if you promise to uh, be embargoed, we'll give you some information." We said, "Yeah, sure, we'll be embargoed till whatever day you have in mind." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, the event starts tomorrow,
5 a.m.
and here's the press release." I'm like, that's not what. I mean, the day's over already, sister.
I mean,
But
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. If we were like a traditional news organization or like a gaming site, and
if
we
we,
wanted,
had,
yeah, if we had to like actually write material
oh yeah,
for release, that gives us a little bit of time to put something together prior to it getting out there.
I
But
get, I
we got a set schedule. We do things at a certain time.
yeah. No. So Merge Dragons, I did download this a long time ago, and it's a cool little concept. Have you ever played it?
Nope.
Basically, you level up things by it's kind of like Dota Underlords, where in order to level up things, you have to merge like things.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Except I
Uh,
can actually play Dota Underlords on my phone, so I don't need a game like it. I can
right,
just
right,
play
right.
that one.
Yep, and so that's it. In the Rick and Morty kind of limited series event, Rick and Morty are there collecting gems or something like that. Uh, we talk about Rick and Morty merchandise, just how expansive it is and how much of it is, whether it makes sense or not. Uh, here's here's a great example of that. But hey, Zynga, they
They
got
got a real zinger.
uh,
What with this
but
one?
let's uh, let's move on from Zynga. If you're interested in Merge Dragons, we have no codes or anything that you can put in to get
Nope.
free stuff. But say hi to the game for. Moving on to other merchandise. I'm skipping the second bullet here, Travis. The Rick and Morty versus D&D starter set is out.
Pew,
Woo-
pew, pew.
woohoo.
For those of you on the live stream, it's barely in frame. All my D&D books are right down there at the bottom of the shelf. And there's just simply no room for this set. But I will make room. I am willing to make room. That's right. This is so it was announced a while ago. I think we've talked about it for a few different iterations of episodes, but it is finally out. It's been released. You can go purchase it on Amazon or at a game store, local comic shop, wherever you get your D&D stuff. But this is a starter set for D&D. I like to think if you read the Rick and Morty versus D&D comics and hadn't played D&D at all, you are squarely in the demo for this product. If you are interested in D&D, you're a huge Rick and Morty fan, you've never really played but you're interested in playing, highly recommend picking up this set because it will walk you and a few of your friends through the first 3 levels of D&D, and gives you basically everything you need to start a campaign. It includes a DM screen with some cool Rick and Morty art on there. Ooh. And then I think it's got some character sheets, as well as a printed out adventure. Yeah, exactly. No promises, nothing set in stone. But if we get our hands on this, I definitely think we should try to run a Rick and Morty campaign in the very near off season of Rick and Morty season 4. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe we could get some special guests or somebody to come in and play with us. That would be a whole lot of fun.
Cool. That'd be really cool. And with that whole D&D thing in mind, the next episode of Rick and Morty is Claw and Hoarder, which is Morty gets a dragon, bro. So I think that is a perfect time for the starter set to come out to get yourself on the straight and D&D narrow, to get spun up on
The D&D narrow. Yeah.
the Robert D&D narrow. Yeah. Which speaking of, we have a 2-week break coming up. Essentially, well,
surprise.
We don't necessarily have a 2-week break coming up, but the show does, and it's a great way to stretch out those 5 episodes.
Yeah.
I think we'll talk more about that at the end here, but it's semi-pertinent because Adult Swim is forcing us to spend time with our families, which I hate. So, but you know what I don't hate, Travis?
What's that, Brandon?
I don't hate the Dan Harmon Social Media Minute.
Dan Harmon Social Media Minute. Here we go. Dan's
the chickas.
Dan's been working out. He's been working out. He's been swimming. And when I went to check his social media feed over on Instagram, that is most of what we've gotten is he has figured out a way to save his live streams that he does on Instagram and save those into his feed. So if you go look at like the last 3 or 4 posts on Dan's page, it is all of him working out. So and there's not much else to say about it. He's putting in the work. He's rigged up a lot of interesting cameras around his house. He's got underwater cameras in his swimming pool, like with multiple angles. Yeah, and like he practices swimming like underwater the length of his pool, and then doing like a flip turn, and kicking back the other way. And he's got his trainer there with him, like running the cameras and doing everything. Like it's not my cup of tea. I don't like stop my day and be like, let's watch Dan Harmon work out. And we do have somebody in the chat asking, is he actually dropping weight? He's probably dropping a little bit of weight. If anything, he's getting more fit and at least counteracting all of the vodka that he drinks.
so much vodka. Do you think when Harmontown is over, he's gonna drink less?
No.
That's rhetorical. You didn't ask that.
No, I don't. But kudos to him for staying motivated. I really do think the fact that he has built some sort of production out of his workout is what keeps him motivated to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're interested in Dan Harmon's workout routine, make sure you're following him on Instagram. That's Dan Harmon. If you're looking for Dan.
If you're looking for Dan,
for Dan.
You know
and if you're not looking for Dan, maybe you're just looking to hang out with us and talk about some Rick and Morty in the main thing.
Oh, Oh, you juked me out. It's my thing. I was trying to get as heisty as I could with,
Bringing that horn section in. That's spicing it up.
yeah.
Well,
I'm
yes.
no Ryan Elder.
No, no, no. You don't have a whole computer full of samples to choose from to mix
That's
up on the fly. You could maybe use that pocket operator once in a while.
in the box. They
In the
call it.
box. Oh, we listened to the same podcast today. All right. So yes, we have another episode. This episode is season 4, episode 3. One crew over the Crewcoo's Morty. Say that 5 times fast. I dare ya.
Whoa.
Air date, of course, yesterday, November 24th, 2019. Written by Katie Delaney.
Mhm.
Directed by friend of the podcast, Brian Newton. Guest starring Justin
Thoreau.
Thoreau. I almost
Uh-huh.
said Justin Trudeau.
He was with Jennifer Aniston for a while. If you remember that one movie where they're at, like, it's a David Wayne movie, Wanderlust, where
Is he
him,
the dude from The Leftovers?
I think so. Yeah,
Mm.
he's the one that Jennifer Aniston ends up sleeping with. Uh,
Okay.
where
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is out there going like, "My dick, you want my dick?"
All right. And of course, Elon Musk is in this episode as well.
Yeah, yep.
Brandon, do you want to read through the bronopsis of this episode?
Lots of twists and turns this time, bruh. Wear your helmets. The
To the
helmet.
point. I don't recall any helmets in the episode.
I don't either.
Mm.
Uh, yeah. Why don't you read our synopsis?
Oh, that you wrote so expertly. And this I'll be reading it for the first time. It goes a little something like this. It's heistception, bros. Oh
Thank
no, the bros. Look at we did the old double cross. The bros are on our crew now, and our synopsis has the bros. It's heistception.
It's the Internet
Uh,
3.
let's preface before we get too deep into the discussion about this episode, a long time mythos about this podcast and our other podcast, the parent podcast, if you will, Apathetic Enthusiasm, and that's the fact that I have openly claimed for a number of years that I enjoy heist films.
Openly, yeah.
Openly, without shame. I own The Italian Job on DVD. Uh,
Yo,
I like
Driver.
I modeled a D&D character after Indiana Jones. Yeah, I've watched Ocean's 11. I
Yeah,
think maybe Ocean's 12. I
yeah,
don't know if I've seen any other ones.
yeah.
But yeah, I like heist films, and I've said that I do. And so when this episode started, you and I watched the episode together. We were just like, "This is my episode. This one's for me." And yeah, it kind of was.
Yeah,
It kind of was in a lot of ways.
yeah. It kind of was in so many different ways. Yeah. So everyone listening to this, we imagine has watched the episode, but of course, the whole thing. Let's just get that out of the way. Is all a ploy just to get Morty. Rick does a heist to make sure Morty doesn't get his script to Netflix because Beth told him he has to make a decision based off his own disillusionment. Uh, but yeah, well, I mean, with that little bit out of the way,
Little
uh,
bits.
little bit going back into the heist movie madness of it is what I call. Uh, damn, damn. When that first little bit of heisting happens, and he gets a crew together from it was in the previews for the next episode. Everybody knew, like, oh, he got a crew together. The joke was that's all I needed was for you to walk me in. uh the elaborateness of that and the sons of bitches right away from that, like, okay, this is it. This is for Travis. Just that one scene.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
and when they just kept doing it over and over again, I'm like, yeah, why am I even watching this right now? Travis, this is Travis's solo version of this episode.
Yeah. No, it was great. And the assembling of the crews was pretty solid, but I have to give a nod to uh, Brian Newton, who directed the episode, and the way that he was able to capture that multi-panel sort of split screen effect with where he's like showing different angles of the same thing happening, or sort of progressing through some stage in a heist using different parts of the screen, which is used frequently in I think like the Ocean's 11 movies, or Ocean's 8. I don't how many there are. I don't know. There's ocean movies.
I don't
Uh,
know.
but
Those-
yeah, and
those
it's
kind
used
of
in some of
are-
those. But the way they were able to capture the action and really embrace the genre, uh, whether they're mocking it or just playing it straight, I thought they did a great job of walking us through a lot of stuff very quickly without making us feel lost. I think we were able to follow what was happening pretty well. At least I was. I won't speak for everybody, but I thought that was really great. And then of course the classic double cross. We get into that really quickly in the heist off, where they're double crossing and double crossing each other as they try to heist this crystal skull that that was going to, I don't even remember what's the guy's name now. It's
Miles Knightley.
Miles Knightley. That's right.
Yeah.
And they end up giving him a satchel of poo, Rick's poo. That's two sequential episodes featuring defecating Rick,
In
and
that highbrow potty humor,
gotta
huh?
love it.
Conceptual potty humor.
But yeah, and all the while introducing a ton of hilarious character concepts and ideas. Yeah, no, the first half of this episode, I absolutely loved. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, I did too. I when Heistatron takes over, and and the joke about him heisting a planet was I didn't really realize what was happening at first, and I saw the hidden gigantic hidden camera crushing and killing people, so
Yeah.
then delivering the pizza box and just killing millions. Uh, I think I on the companion podcast somebody talked about that just being the joke that that kills him, just being like y- y- just so painfully obvious. And my son, my 7-year old, watches it. Yes, I'm a bad parent. He was like, "That's so obvious. Why is it so obvious?" Yeah, that's kind of the joke that it's overkill.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting that, when we realize over the course of this episode, it's all Rick putting on this con to convince Morty not to pitch his heist script to Netflix. But you think about the stakes and how many people died, that an entire planet's core was ripped from it and all of its inhabitants were killed, in a ploy to keep Morty from pitching his script and pursuing his dream of selling his heist film to Netflix, the streaming giant. Which I feel like somewhere in there's some underlying frustration, probably from Dan and maybe some of the other writers, about how Netflix takes in content, and maybe takes writers and gives a lot of people opportunities in a way that wasn't necessarily available to writers even 10-20 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good bit of
Oh,
observation,
thank
uh,
you.
and that'd be something I'd like to discuss. offline, not as to not piss off Dan. Uh, just kidding. Um,
Yeah, he listens to this show every week, obviously.
you mentioned, yeah, that you liked the first half of the episode. What about the second half of the episode?
There is a point where you get into a little bit of back and forth with the heist bot and random bot, and we get into the inner sanctum of the heist bot, and Rick is going through what 6 levels of
Contrivance.
contrivance exactly, and then it goes even deeper with the other bot, who I still have a hard time figuring out which was which, but
Yeah.
but there's a point where there's just like 2 hours of them saying, "But I programmed you to do that," and that portion of the episode felt a little bit slower to me. It didn't feel. I don't know. I didn't feel like it played as strong, but I, it once you get kind of through that and to the point where both of the bots have been destroyed and they need to get Earth, like they need to save Earth before all of the structure explodes or whatever, and they go into uh, the real heist, which was the heist for Morty's attention. I feel like it really picks up and pays off at the end with that final double cross, that final twist.
With that final twist. Yeah, the that back and forth. I talked to you about this last night, on directly after the show, about that 2 hours later gag, and how that didn't feel Rick and Morty ish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it felt uh, what I say, like trying to, almost like a Simpsons esque gag, and I use the
Right.
example of, oh, when I stomp down on your foot, you smile and nod. Hello, Mr. Thompson. I think he's talking to you. Like one of those types of gags, which is
Right.
hilarious still. This one I laughed, but also it I'm like, that didn't feel very smart. But I will say that they did a good job of incorporating war games into the its learning, and the only perfect heist is not to have one written, or whatever that line is.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I did find that interesting, like in an intellectual way, some of the concepts, and on rewatches, kind of thinking more about what they're talking about in those exchanges. Um, I realized that the like 2 hours later like title card, they use that a few other times in the episode to kind of show how time is quickly passing, and I wonder if that's just something they picked up from maybe some of the heist films that they watched for reference or something, or if it was just like the easiest mechanic to show that passage of time in an episode where they're already doing some really significant cuts and playing with frames and the way
Yeah.
time passes and jumping in and out of flashbacks and things like that. I give them a little bit of liberty in using that, but it was interesting to see. There's a really interesting conversation that's popping up in the Twitch chat right now, and it's in our show notes, so I think we should probably address it.
Yeah.
But it's about the fact that there really wasn't a B plot in this episode. Gives some credit to Moderately Sober for shouting this out as well, that there wasn't a B plot, and also the fact that we didn't really spend any time with the rest of the Smith family almost at all in this episode. This really just rode that singular thought of the heist and the interactions between Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, we write in there, the notes: distinct lack of the family except Summer and Beth. Uh, really, Summer being the catalyst for all of it by making Rick feel that sense of, oh, he's going to be abandoned, and him lashing out. I mean, in some ways, it's well, I was gonna say recapturing the Vindicators episode,
Right.
uh, which is
And
another Brian directed episode.
another Brian episode. His least favorite. He will also admit to.
We talk about Vindicators, that he does everything for Noob Noob, but that there's probably still a certain, uh, you know, he cares about Morty in some way, shape, or form, whether or not he likes to admit it or not. But there's shades of that kind of abandonment with the episode.
Right.
Uh, but I
Props to Coas 11, moderately sober, giving him credit. Uh, Coas 11, him or her, they, you, for actually calling it out in the chat. Yeah. What do you think about these episodes that sort of just stick to that one track? Do you feel like it breaks the mold too much, or it's like, are you cool with them focusing in on one topic for a whole episode? If the storyline sort of fills all of that, or I didn't realize until well after watching it that we didn't get any kind of like B plot.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, let's just think about the other episodes in season 4 so far, which this is for our season 4 recap episode later. But it uh Edge of Morty was just a very kind of like just everywhere. It was in a lot of different places, but just kind of stuck with that sci-fi kind of conceptual thing. The Old Man in a Seat, very very strong A plot, very decent B plot, right? And I would say that that episode is more structured. It was more structured. This one is structured to so streamlined, but because there's like so much back and forth, and and just like when you watch a heist movie and you're like, wait, what? How did that happen? How does that work? I don't even know how that works. When did they do that? I don't remember that. It it seemed a little
How did he
confusing.
know to do a heist before they even talked about doing the heist? How did how did he double cross the heist that he didn't know was going to be heisted?
The paradox. It's like watching Terminator 2. And you're like, well, no. How does it all happen? To find
Yeah.
out, watch Terminator Dark Fate or whatever it's called.
The
Doesn't
new
matter.
one. The new one.
So
Yeah, and
I
and oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think some reprieve from the heisting would have been good for me. I think
Yeah.
that would I like the episode, but I think it would have been better if I could have just taken a break from being heisted for one scene in the middle. Uh, but I didn't get that,
Yeah.
so we're with what we have.
I think in an alternate dimension, if there was a version of this that still runs through the highlights of the heist story plot, but then maybe has Jerry doing like a really low budget, low threat sort of heist or something, and you have some sort of story where he's like trying to steal his rake back from his neighbor's backyard or something, and he keeps screwing it up or whatever. Like, I don't know. There's opportunities to kind of lower the threat and poke fun at Jerry or something, and it still kind of ties into the story. I don't know,
Yeah,
but instead of having all that high energy, quick like back and forth, you can kind of just go, go down to Jerry's level for a little bit and
yeah.
see what's going on down there.
That I exact you nailed it. So it this episode is I tiring. It is
And
high
not
energy.
just because it plays at 11:30.
Again, I liked it, uh, but it takes it a little bit out more out of me to keep up with that frenetic pacing of the editing with all the scenes shooting up horizontal, and as Brian talks about in the companion podcast, the like hanging on a particular scene as something else is happening, and then holding on that scene as this goes away, then something else pops in. That uh, although like magnificent directing and super cool to me how they all did that. it a reprieve sometimes.
But at the same time, Dan Harmon has been pretty adamant about his disdain for heist films
Yeah.
and uh, what's uh, what's the one
N- now you see me.
Now You See Me. He did a rant on Harmontown. I think Sire Dark shared a link in the chat to his rant. But yeah, so he's openly said he doesn't like these types of movies. So to build an episode about and have Rick sort of hate the genre, but still masterfully, you know, work within it, I find really interesting. And it's sort of this weird commentary on disliking a genre, but doing that in a way where you perfectly sort of recreate the genre within your content too. It's well executed for sure.
Yeah, I think the best way to critique something is to know what about it is that bothers you, or that you dislike. It's one thing to say I don't like Star Wars, and then, well, why don't you like Star Wars? I don't know, just not a
Yeah.
fan of it.
Yep.
Um,
I'm sorry. Did you have a conversation with my wife recently?
but uh, in order to, if you are the person who is was charged with drafting up a parody, or a film or whatever, taking Star Wars down, and you say, I don't know what I don't like about it, I just know that I don't like Star Wars, then you are probably the poorest informed person
Right.
to to be put in charge of that project.
Yeah.
So Harmon's uh, enthusiastic disdain of the heist genre, I think, is important for him to masterfully take it down.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was that.
And he's very thoughtful in the things that he hates. So it's not like he's glib about it. He's given it some thought.
Yeah,
And you have a note in here about season 4 being the Dan Harmon show.
yeah.
I'm curious if you would like to elaborate a little bit more on that for our listening audience.
Okay, yeah. So season 4 of the Dan Harmon show, he's done like a prominent voice in every single episode this
Hmm.
season so far. And I'm I keep referring to the companion podcast, not trying to get you guys to stop listening to us, but uh, Brian mentions right away in his portion that this is the most Dan Harmon of all the seasons so far.
Yeah, yeah.
And I I'm not a community watcher. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. You don't listen to this podcast, but I'm sorry anyways, because he's been trying to get me to watch Community as a Dan Harmon fan forever, and I have not done it. But I think there's an episode within one of the later seasons where they again talk about heist movies, and how heist movies suck. This isn't obviously the first time that we've talked about heists in the show. Lawnmower Dog is a prime example, early example of,
Hmm.
basically, I mean, what is Inception but a heist movie in dreams, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so going back to that kind of in here, I'm next week. Next episode is the Claw and Hoarder. Get some dragon stuff in there.
Some fantasy role play, perhaps.
That's right. That's right. So every I mean, I don't know. We have to see how the rest of the episodes go, but so far, getting huge Harmon vibes, more so I think than the previous seasons.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree with that. One other theme that seems to be consistent throughout the first 3 episodes of season 4 is sort of Rick's relationships. Rick's relationship with Morty, of course, is a theme throughout the show, but his lack of relationships with other people, his friendships, so to speak, which we've seen friends of Rick in the past. Obviously, you've got Squanchy and Bird Person, who is still off Phoenix personing somewhere, hopefully. But this season, it's really been a reoccurring theme, the lack of friendships in Rick's life, and I feel like this episode takes that a step further. We see a lot more associates of Rick, people that have an affinity for Rick. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Uh, and but also we see the return of Professor Poopy Butthole, and we see some of these other folks sort of coming back into the fold of Rick's life while he consistently is trying to reinforce his adventuring relationship with Morty. But do you gain any other insight or thoughts about the friendships and the relationships in Rick's life, having watched this episode a couple of times?
Uh, y- I guess I just keep going back to looking at the theme so far. The stuff with Tony last episode, with him working so hard to say, "Nah, you're not my friend," but then building up this contraption to basically impress him, right? Like maybe not impress him, but just like when you're like how I take digs at you about uh me not liking your jacket that you have on right now. I say, "Hey, nice jacket, jacket boy," and you're like, "Oh no, oh, Brandon
No.
playing gags on me." He loves me. He's just a gagger. Wait, that's weird. Um, that's what Rick was doing to in Rick's own way to Tony in the last episode. Not having any really close friends, and then we happen to see Mr. Poopy Butthole, Professor Butthole, Professor Poop. God, that's hard to say. This episode, and we, I mentioned last night when we did the post episode kind of immediate recap that what it would have been like this episode in a world where wedding squanchers didn't happen the way it did, and Squanchy was still around, and Bird Person was still around in his way. Would those characters have been in Rick's crew for the random portion, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
would he have not relied on random and gone to his rocks, so to speak, his friends, uh, and him in Coas mentions it. Coas 111 mentions this, that he goes through so much effort to get Morty in this episode that it mirrors the stuff that we saw with Tony last episode.
Yeah.
Like, ruin people's lives so they want to be with you.
Yeah. Which is part of like Rick's controlling nature and sort of his inability to have a healthy relationship. I think he's trying in his own way to make sure Morty wants to be around him and go on adventures with him, but he he has to control that outcome and make sure that it happens the way he wants it to happen. He can't allow the freedom that, oh, maybe Morty pursues this Netflix deal but also still wants to be around me. I have
And
to be sure I will tow the earth behind my spaceship if I have to, which the physics of that is still sort of clanging around up in my brain, but it's best not to think about it. But yeah, he's literally going to all lengths to make sure that Morty does what he wants him to do.
that's right. I mean, it goes back to the core of the point of Pickle Rick, which is he just he has to make everything so convoluted and contrived just to maintain some semblance of control. He puts himself in these really bad positions because he wants to maintain control. Like if I put myself into a bad position, I know I'm in a bad position, and I know that it was me, my agency, that put me there.
Yeah.
Uh, and and me taking that agency away from others is still risking a relationship, but it's still control of my own. If that makes sense, in a weird way. Anyway,
Anyway,
whatever.
anyway, yeah.
I mean, he's an
Uh,
asshole. What do you want?
what do you want with Rick? All right, those are some heavy talking points. Let's loosen it up a little bit. Let's talk about some of our favorite items, some favorite bits from this episode. This episode featured a lot of brand new side characters and background characters. The amount of new things that they have to create for these episodes is probably in no small part one of the reasons why it takes so long for these episodes to come out. But we did see some really great characters in the various crews, and Brandon, I asked you earlier, what were some of your favorite new side characters that you saw in this episode?
You did ask me that. I would say Trucula. Wh-
You son of a bitch. I mean,
the first time we see Trucula, the truck's eating the other, so- eating the other cars. That was okay. We were just like meeting Trucula, the actual driver. But then we don't really see the driver ever again. We just see the embodied, just the truck driving in and out of the. That's what tickled me was when like Heisatron did like the shooting, and then everyone's like, "You son of a bitch."
yeah.
The dart went into the truck, and in the montage portions, it's just the truck driving in and out of the convention center.
I didn't really pick up on that. That's pretty good.
Fucking truck.
One of my favorite new characters has to be Elon Tusk, Elon Musk in our dimension. Obviously, a great new friend of Dan and Justin's, and they were able to bring him in to voice Elon Tusk, who is pretty much the same as Elon Musk, except with his tusks, he learned a little bit more humility. And one of my favorite gags he says is when they're talking, he's like, "Oh, that sounds serious. Why don't you come talk with me over here?" And they just walk off frame, and then it pans over, and they continue their conversation. And it's such a random gag, but it gets me every time I watch the episode.
Yeah, I like Elon Tusk. Hey, perfect timing there, Cybertruck guy.
Oh, Cybertruck, boom boom.
Uh, I,
Who else you got?
I will say this about Elon Musk. Hey, stick to your ideas. I don't think you have a future in, in voice acting, bro.
Got him. Got him. Enough of
Uh,
your jabs, Brandon.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Second one, you left this for me. Thank you, because otherwise I would have gone with Glar. Is double microwave. I think that's his name. Just
Yeah.
just two microwaves on top of each other in a head.
He reminds me of a background character that we see early in the HeistCon images of
Oh
a character that's just like arms and a head coming out of a safe.
yeah. Yeah.
Nameless character back there, but he just catches my eye every time.
Every time.
You mentioned Glar. Yes, I put Glar as one of my favorite characters. I really dig his hulking size with the tuxedo T-shirt, playing piano and
Oh yeah.
doing what he does.
My name's not Glar anymore. It's Gleam, and I play piano. Hey Gleam, play the piano. No, I don't play piano anymore.
I quit.
My name's
And
Glar.
there's Glar. Another one I added in is Ventriloquiver. I just think this is a cool concept for a character that shoots you with an arrow and they can talk through you. It's bizarre, and I don't know what substances you have to be on to come up with that, but congratulations to the team for coming
It's so
up with
bizarre and seems not very useful actually. Like
yeah.
you have to almost kill somebody every time to just talk through them, and then you're like, hey, you have an arrow sticking out of you, dude. Right?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I'm convinced. But interesting concept nonetheless.
Nonetheless.
Um,
Yeah, oh, go ahead.
oh no. After you, Travis, I was gonna switch to our favorite bits portion. But if you have something else to say,
Bits. No, I was going to do the same thing.
oh yeah,
We don't have a script for this. We just have show notes, guys. It's time for favorite bits.
favorite bit.
This is where Brandon and I talk about our favorite bits from the episode. I'm going number one. Rick eating baby carrots at the truck show.
That's
Why? I don't know, but I'm curious if those are branded carrots, like, because there's like a little like logo with a C on it. I don't know if they just made that up or if there's like a specific brand of baby carrots. My curiosity goes to, is there someone in the writers room or someone on staff that eats like baby carrots all the time and they're like, you know what, we're drawing this into the episode. I want to know who that's referencing.
There it is. Put the baby carrots in. Yeah, and in the very beginning, he's in the chair, the hover chair, eating Arby's. Lots of lots of
It's
cross promotional stuff
gotta get
happening.
that product placement in there, you know, keep the lights on.
My first favorite bit is, you know, uh, they mentioned Cronenberg's in season one, with Cronenberg, Rick and Morty, and you know how much I love that because I love me some Cronenberg, and you know who else I love? I love David Lynch. He is so weird and so random, and I love him so much, and I am so happy that they mentioned that Randotron is basically programmed with David Lynch references. Uh,
I like that Rick's reference is uh, ba- based on the 3 David Lynch movies that I pretended to like, you know, to shut my friend up or whatever.
yeah, Wonder.
That feels really personal to me in some way. I don't know why.
You should watch Mulholland Drive. It's not that confusing. All right, it's like the first half is a dream, then she wakes up, and it's just kind of a nightmare thing. And she's waking up, and then all the bits and pieces. It's kind of like Inception. It's great. It's a great movie.
All
Also,
right.
Twin Peaks, the season that just came out, season 3. Look, The Return. You have to watch. Okay, moving on.
That is an AE conversation. Another line that I wrote down a couple times is when they walk into the convention hall and Rick says, "It's showtime, Morty," and I'm not talking about that cheap HBO ripoff. I'm talking about it's time for a show. um, yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
um, I when Heistotron takes over and is about to take over, heist the planet. Harmon does the voice where it's like, initiate heist, and I don't know, I don't know why it took so. Why did he lengthened the heist part out? But
I also wrote down, and it's not even in the show notes, but there's a point where he says, "Initiate clap sequence," and then
yeah,
and then it says slow clap achieved. Yeah, those are some good verbal bits. Uh, got to shout out Morty in his randomness subscribing to a podcast and then swish throwing his phone right into a trash can. Yeah. Only thing they could have done better is put a specific podcast
hey
in that scene.
hey I
Next time in the
we
director's cut, maybe.
we talked about it last night. If they had done that, we would have quit this podcast and be like, they made fun of us. We're out of here.
Hang it up. We're done.
We did it. Uh, to continue on with your Morty favorite bit, when he after he does a swish, him putting just a sock on his hand to make a sock puppet, running out into the street, and then laying on his back like a turtle. So random.
So
Good
random.
job, Randobot.
We've talked about him already, but the return of Professor Poopy Butthole. I'd be happy if he became like a regular character. I mean, at this point, it's hard not to call him a regular. He's been in so many episodes, but like having him around the house, or he's lost his job at the university. Yeah, just let him crash with the Smith family. Let's just make it a thing.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll make it like Three's Company, but Poopy's Company.
Yeah, full poops.
Uh, so I have two more. I'll get through the quick one first, which is the anti booby suits. Not the whole not the whole segment is funny to me, but specifically the giant boulder from Indiana Jones rolling out and just going boom boom off of Rick. It never fails to get a tickle. And then the last thing is if you screenshot the laptop that Morty's writing on, you can catch a glimpse of his epic Netflix screenplay for his heist movie. And so I want to read part of it out loud. Description: Suddenly, a man holding rocks jumps out of the bushes. The man pulls a mask off. It's Hector Arnaldo. By the way, that's how it's spelled: Arnaldo. Arnaldo. Holy shit! It's Hector. He's alive. But what about his body? Hector: That isn't a body. It's a cake I baked myself. And that's how we're going to get into the Mason Museum and heist the crystal orb, because we will all be dead, but they won't realize we're made of cake. that's that's how
Got
the
him.
script is. Like classic
Direct
double.
direct to Netflix. It's all about getting that crew together.
So good.
My final one is the quote: "Your boos mean nothing to me. I've seen what makes you cheer." I'm I, I'm gonna keep that in my little memory bank for any criticism I ever get the rest of my life. But yeah, those are our favorite bits, some of our favorite new characters, and some of the things that really piqued our interest in this episode. Those of you in the chat watching live, you guys have a bunch of great feedback that we will discuss as well. But for those of you listening later, whether it is watching it on YouTube or Twitch on replay, or if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, we want to know what you guys think. What are the things that you liked about the episode? Maybe some things that you disagree with. Hit us up on Twitter or send us an email. We want to know your thoughts, and we'll share some of those thoughts in a segment we call Listener Suggestions and Short Outs. It's time for the final part of the show. Don't try to sing, Brandon. You know you don't do music.
But that was the other thing. That was in the heist con when they did
The air horn sounds for the heist off.
yeah. So
So good.
classic. Shout out on Twitter to Philip Marks. We talked about we talked. I got into like a side comment about not understanding the whole "I'm gonna tell my kids" meme thing that's going on
Yeah.
Twitter, and Philip Marks too did just a wonderful thing.
Put it
He
together in rapid, like
yeah
record time. It
he
was out on the Twitters right after we finished our stream last night.
which is I'm gonna tell my kids that this is Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland, and it's a picture of Travis and I
Yep.
together.
It's
Uh, that's
cheers. Cheers, Phil.
that's the funniest one I've seen.
It's the best one.
It's the best
Clearly.
one. Love you, love you, man.
We also got an email this week from Jay Ritter, who was doing some holiday shopping out at Kohl's. Kohl's, not a sponsor. Although, did you know you can return your Amazon orders to Kohl's now?
No way.
It's a great marketing ploy for them, and we'll talk about that some other time.
Okay.
But he sent us some pictures of the 12 Rick and Morty socks bundle that you can get as a holiday gift at Kohl's. I responded and let him know in the email that I actually got the 12 days of Rickmas socks last year.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some fun designs. I love my noob socks. I wear those pretty frequently. Though I will say the socks are a little thin, and they don't fit great all the time. So,
Oh.
cool designs, not the best socks. But thank you for sharing those with us. It is a great way to fill your sock drawer with some Rick and Morty awesomeness. Some of the designs I saw, there was obviously some Pickle Rick Crew socks. There was an Evil Morty poster on one of them. I think I saw Unity hanging out with Rick on some socks.
Yeah.
Some other ones in there as well.
I gotta tell you, I don't have too many socks like that. I usually just have like black or white. But I what do I got some like a cool dad pair of socks who like says cool dad.
Cool
Oh,
dad.
I like these, all right. And then I see you wearing these like kind of cool socks. I'm like, oh, I should do that too. And then I was at a Microsoft conference and I got some NetApp socks. And then I got some Microsoft 365 socks. I'm like, this is great. I need some more custom designed socks.
Such a Jerry. Jeez. There were definitely some me seek socks, some me socks, as
It's great.
co-host 111 is articulating. Get yourself some socks. What else we got, Brandon?
Okay, I want to shout out to a few folks over on Instagram who provide. I do a lot of reposting. I grab some fan art and I repost it out there. So shout out to Alex Ortega one, Whozole underscore Inc. And friend of the show, Chase, aka Tough underscore Luck underscore Kid, with an awesome gluty drawing painting. Sorry, I'm not an artist. Oh, I mean, it looks like a painting, but some awesome work. If you're in Twitch, you can scroll down. You can see a bunch of art that fan art that we post. And if you want fan art posted, just reach out to us at Rick and Morty Podcast, and I will get you hooked up.
We'll
I will
we'll
hook
we'll,
you
pu- we'll post it right up on the poster
up. I
postings.
will.
We got a new review. We got this one titled "After the Credits Roll." It's a 5-star review that says, "I can't seem to get enough of Rick and Morty, and these guys help fill my ears and my eye holes."
Mm.
Ugh, ugh. It's always great to have these guys go back and forth talking or taking the audience deeper into the show. Keep up the good work, guys. That's from Dude1869 via Apple Podcasts. Thank you, Dude1869. Which
Thank you.
I'm assuming is the year you were born and not any other use of numbers.
Maybe that's when the term "dude" originated. The year was 1869, and we were
Bro.
looking
Bruh.
for a word to appropriately describe our friendships to one another. All right.
That's also how everybody spoke in 1869.
What?
Another special shout out. And I don't know if you did the full shout out for this individual in our last episode, but we have a new Patreon supporter that we want to highlight. This is Derek Squeeze. Thank you so much for supporting us on Patreon. We really appreciate that. But we also, even more than that, appreciate you coming out and creating the first ever Florida Interdimensional RSS meet and greet. Brandon and I did get a chance to hang out in Florida while I was out there on vacation. And Derek, you met up with us. You said hello. We got a picture. We got to meet you and your wife. It was a ton of fun. So thankful that you came out and said hi. And there have been a few instances where we've gotten to meet fans of the show, and it's a joy every time. It's so much fun. So
Every single time.
yeah.
I'm always deathly afraid of meeting folks, and you are all wonderful people, and I um when you're meeting new people, just kind of like hesitance, and like, man, I'll they'll probably think I'm even more of an idiot than I am when I'm actually talking on the podcast. But it's so great meeting such positive, fun, funny, nice people out there, and to share this fandom with you. I
Absolutely.
just couldn't be happier about it. So thanks again, Derek, for meeting up with us right next to the Lilo and Stitch, the Lilo statue the Stitch statue that spits water, and it was so
Yeah.
cold that night.
So cold.
And
So
my kid's
cold.
like, "Oh, look, I'm dodging water." I'm like, "Stop dodging water! You're gonna get pneumonia, like a dummy." Anyways, he's dead.
Anyway, yeah, that's how he died. So that's our show. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for hanging out. My voice is about gone for some reason. I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
But yes, we do not have a new episode next week in terms of Rick and Morty. They're taking some time off. Brandon and I haven't fully figured out how we're gonna fill that void, but I think we could come up with an episode. I think maybe we can make up for the one I missed. I don't know. We'll figure out something to do. Thank you guys so much for listening, though. Thank you for subscribing. If you're listening for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, whether that's on YouTube or whether it is in the podcatcher of your choosing. If you haven't rated the show or given us a review, we would appreciate your time in doing that. It helps others find the show, and makes us pop up even more in those searches. And finally, just share the show with a friend. Maybe you have some folks that you discuss Rick and Morty with. If you're enjoying this podcast, let them know about the podcast, and maybe just spread the word through that guerrilla marketing. I don't.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And maybe, and here's a thought. Maybe we've already done that because this was all a heist.
Oh, Crystal Skull! Watch out, guys! Everybody looks down at everybody looks down at their phone. It's just covered in Rick's poop. It's just all
Oh, we're
got
so
him.
heist
Got him.
bot. I'm playing a heist.
Initiate, slow clap.
Uh,
All right, that's it for the episode. For those of you hanging out on stream, we will do our post-show hangout immediately following this. For everybody else, that's only if you're watching live, or if you watch the video later. So make sure you follow us on Twitch or YouTube if you want to catch the post-show. Otherwise, until next week, I'm Travis.
and I am Brandon.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. Oh, you said that already. Sorry.
Ba-da-bum. I love that you typed the ba-da-ba-da-bum moderately sober. That is amazing. Hello everybody. I need some water or something. Maybe just a shot.
Okay.
But it's post show time. So
I'm here.
hi everybody. Brandon, speak. Speak to
You
the
need
people.
water? You need something to drink? You need something to drink? What is your? I'm going to ask you a question as you're trying to think of something to drink, Travis. What is your favorite drink to drink while we're podcasting? The podcasting public is dying to know.
Beer.
Beer. God. I mean, I'm good. Like good. Good.
Beer. Typically, whatever beer is in this mini fridge right next to me.
Yeah, I made a lot of room. So for those who are watching, I made a lot of room in my room. I got got rid of a big like desky thing, and now I'm ready to fill up the space with more shit. So I'll probably get like a mini keg or something like that.
I can't recommend a mini fridge enough because to kind of peel back the curtain here.
Yeah.
I podcast in my basement. So this space
In your mom's basement.
this space behind me that is
I'm digging at you. I
that
love
is
you.
it's decorated in all of my toys and knickknacks. Sorry. I mean I could keep trying to clear it. It may be seasonal allergies. I don't know what's going on, guys.
Jeez.
But yeah, so I don't want to have to walk all the way upstairs to the kitchen to get a beverage. Mini fridge is where it's at.
A mini fridge is where it's at. Yeah, I've always thought of getting Jesus. You're crazy. You're crazy, man.
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
I like you, but you're crazy. Anyways, let's talk a little bit more about that episode. We saw some of your comments.
No, I've already done that. I don't want to talk about the episode anymore.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah. We got lots of great comments. Thank you guys so much for your discussion during the show. And again, I apologize when we're not able to get to comments immediately because we're following our outline and things like that.
Our outline. Let's see. Does anyone else feel like Travis's room look like it's upstairs? It does kind of look like it's upstairs, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that would probably be the walkout basement portion of it. Just so everybody knows, if I ever get robbed and someone comes in this door, hopefully it happens while I'm streaming, so that you can all see me get brutally murdered while doing a podcast.
Oh, that'd be so awful if the last episode of our show is just like
the murder pod.
Turn around, Travis.
What if what if this what you have to do in that case is you have to change our podcast into a true crime podcast and
Oh,
then only talk about the murders, the podcast murders, which will actually improve our download numbers because everybody loves true crime.
in November of 2019, a murder occurred in the basement of Travis Menard's home.
She hit him with the pail.
Oh no, nursery crimes.
2020, it's gonna be the year of nursery crimes. You just watched, guys.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Uh, what else? Let's see. No other missile feet. Oh,
I'm
good.
rendering my file, guys. This is
Nice,
what we
nice.
do. This is what we do after the show. We render some files.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
let's scroll up. Let's scroll up. Hey, can you link nursery crimes, if at all possible?
I don't think
Is it still
nursery
out
crimes
there?
is on the site anymore. I tried looking it up. Um, I know on our Twitter nursery crimes exists. Um, but I think the site where nursery crimes was isn't working anymore. I'll try.
Well, we'll do a little googling.
Yeah. The
Uh,
sun will set on another day. Oh yeah, it works. It does.
my
Got it.
roadcast was the competition.
There it is. I just sent a link out there.
Did you find it that fast?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty quick.
That's what she said.
That is what she said, and then she is disappointed every time.
All right, so there's a link to Nursery Crimes.
There you go.
Our award-winning
That's
podcast.
right. That's right. The sun is set on another nursery crimes. Uh, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something. Ah, damn it, I forget. Um, do. Doctor was. Oh yeah. Kept mentioning that companion podcast. Sire Cenobite. Oh, old Sire Dark. I love you, man. You mentioned the assets part. With Brian Newton saying, a normal show might have, you know, 200 probably at the most assets, whereas this episode had however many. I
I
think
think it said like 900,
yeah.
which is
And
insane.
and then the question, will any of those get reused? And him laughing and saying, no,
No,
no.
no, that's a one and done. We don't do that. He mentioned like two things that might have been reused in this episode. One of them being the supermarket that the guy that the blacksmith that works in the volcano was doing one-armed push-ups atop, and I don't remember what the other one was.
Yeah, I forget. Um, yeah, him. The other thing I thought was I laughed as I was driving this morning when the host, I forget his name, Mike Hardigan, I think, no, not Hardigan, I forget what his name is. Doesn't matter. He says, this is your seventh, eighth episode directing of Rick and Morty. He's the longest. He is the longest director that's been on the show. Uh, and like, what about you is it that makes them keep asking you to come back? And him point blankly be like, I deal with bullshit. I
Yeah,
could.
I can take the most bullshit.
uh, and I laughed because then I'm like that because then he has to all of a sudden be like, oh shit, let me be kind of political about this.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and what do I actually mean by that? And then the host reaching into it, like trying to dig deeper, and him kind of be like, "They-" uh, that I will say, of the three episodes I've listened to of that show, uh, Brian's interview was the most edited. There were
Yeah.
there's most noticeable edits to my half-assed train. It was a really weird edit.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
IMDb, there's only 7. So what does that say about how many episodes he's doing? I'm just saying. Oh, hey, here's something, Travis. On that podcast, Katie Delaney that uh mentions snakes and then mentions Rattlestar Galactica. So the Rattlestar in Galactica has to do with snakes. There you go. Which then, if you look at the intro animation, you know the two of the scenes are real and the other
Mm-hmm.
one, there's like a little alien robot that fights off snakes. So
Interesting.
there's
Oh,
lots of
little tidbit.
yeah. Sorry, spoiler. I don't know if that's a spoiler.
No.
But if you listen to podcasts, Katie Delaney did it, not us.
Yeah, we just repeated the spoiler. Yeah, what else we got in? I'm trying to scroll through chat. You guys are talkative tonight, which is a great thing.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
do. I do. You know, I do have something. If you don't want to scroll too far, and it's all of this stuff. This is all the stuff I need from you. That's all the stuff I need from you for I do shitty Rick and Morty Mad Libs, so you can be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I stopped doing Mad Libs when I was 4.
Yeah,
Uh, but you know, for the sake of Rick and Mortyisms, so I just listed out all the words I need, and as we're going through these discussions,
not a
please,
single comma, just just a line of characters there.
yeah, in the in the editing, I I'll go back and do comments. No, I'll try it again. But
You're a hero.
I did the formatting, and then I guess didn't format it the way I wanted it to.
A place we have Vomit Grocery.
Oh well, I don't think that was applicable to me. Oh, it was. Hey, all right,
Yeah,
okay. Vomit grocery.
the verb is run.
Okay.
Okay, okay. English. Giggly, giggly. That looks like a adjective. Oh, we got some background music now.
I'm just gonna keep it going. Giggly. Ooh.
Ooh, a turnstile.
Oh yeah, I really need to figure a way to loop that.
Turnstile,
Oh
snakes. We
man,
got
oh, man.
rugged,
I'm rocking this so far. Oh, we're doing it so quickly. Bold.
bold.
Yes.
I want to see that article of clothing and some gambling.
Oh man.
This system is working out great, Brandon.
I should just do that ahead of time, and it's so much faster. Tunic. Okay.
So yeah,
Oh,
so
basketball shorts. All I'll do is basketball shorts.
yeah. But they defer to tunic. Take tunic. Everyone says take tunic.
Okay. All right. All right. All right.
We need a person in the room. That can be someone in the chat. A plural noun, a vehicle, another noun, adjective, type of food, and a noun. Cybertruck. Cybertruck.
There.
Great vehicle. Great vehicle. Coas is our person in the room.
You just drive first. Okay. Need plural noun. Jesus. Type of food and 2 more nouns.
So I think
uh, 2 nouns, plural noun.
one of the nouns, put crystal skull.
Ooh, okay. Perfect. Twice.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't. Yeah. Istanbul. So some guy was talking about having served in Istanbul at one point in time the other day, and I took all my power not to say not Constantinople.
You mean Istanbul was Constantinople?
Now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. It's been a long time gone, old Constantinople. Why did Constantinople get the works? You know,
It's nobody's business but the Turks. It's a little. They might be giants for you guys.
Yeah. Let's see. BC Rich Mockingbird guitar. I'll do that. I think that was it, right? Oh no, plural noun. Plural
Plural
noun.
noun.
People just liked it better that way. Uh, the Turks.
Look what you started, Brandon. Look what you started.
Oh, maybe I shouldn't do Turks. I just saw what the sentence was before.
One more plural noun. Is that what you're looking
uh,
for? Plural noun?
yeah. Duck lamps.
Duck
Perfect.
lamps. Nailed it.
Duck lamps. All right, here we go. This story is titled Three's a Crowd. Three's a Crowd. Who is. Oh. Dear Grandpa Rick, after arriving home from the post apocalyptic vomit grocery, I realized I would really like to run on more adventures. I guess Morty's giggly ideas are useful and all, but he's still a stupid turnstile, and sometimes you could really use a woman's crystal skull. Let's not pretend all those snakes wouldn't have bowled you into smithereens on Gazorpazorp if it weren't for my quick gambling and totally cute tunic. Yeah, that was good. Tunic's good. I just broke up with Coas. Aw,
Mm.
sorry, Coas. Unless you for underage, which you should leave the stream.
Statutory rape.
And it would feel so much better if I was able to shoot some hostile duck lamps that used to be Turks. Hostile duck lamps or crash land the space Cybertruck during a rescue mission. Besides, mom and dad are driving me up the janitor. What? And if I don't get away for a little while, driving the janitor. That's stupid. um, and if I don't get away for a little while, I'll become rugged. That's still
Pull it
happening.
together. You're a professional. Let's get through this.
I'm still laughing. It's the stupid janitor part. Um, okay. I'll become rugged. Even if it's just a quick trip to grab some Italian, it would be nice if you brought me along. Love, your favorite grand BC Rich Mockingbird. Summer.
A classic. A classic in the in. Brandon's lost it, guys. He's lost it.
Jesus Christ. Oh, this is so stupid. I hate Mad Libs. They're not funny. They're not funny at
So
all.
dumb. So dumb. All right. Yeah. Anything else? Anything on your guys' mind? Anybody not in the
Um,
United States and not celebrating Thanksgiving this week? I don't know. I'm gonna eat me some food.
um, I'm gonna eat some food, Travis.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Travis. You're like, okay, all right, Brandon. All right,
Jeez.
let's
This
move
guy
on.
with this guy with a janitor. Am I right?
Y- it's because you're here that I can be so free. You
Yeah.
know, I can
Yeah.
I'm free finally to just be myself. I
Yeah.
could I could just be myself.
Because it's
Um,
not just me in chat trying to feed you answers like I would on the
y-
podcast while the rest of my family sleeps from a theme park coma.
yeah,
And I'm just like, help the show in any way you can.
I know, and my setup was still different, so I couldn't read. I wasn't reading your stuff fast enough, and so like, because I'm in my mode, and for some reason when I talk and I go on a ramble and I go on a rant, I start facing this way, and my second monitor was over there. So even more so, I don't see what you're saying because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Look at me. Oh, I'm talking. And I can't turn that way because I also lean on this. It does, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's something I just rearranged with my setup is moving chat, which I had up on the TV above, which is why a lot of you when you're watching would see me look up. It's because I was trying to check chat up above me, but I moved it right next to the window that we use to talk to each other, and that way I can kind of just check you guys while you guys
Yeah.
are right here in the chat.
Okay.
D Squeeze, enjoy Thanksgiving on Saturday. Uh, you say your wife will be in Colorado. Are you doing
Oh,
are you doing Thanksgiving without her or with or she'll be in Colorado on Thanksgiving? That makes sense. And then your follow up question is when can we expect Star Wars theme park apathetic enthusiasm, Travis?
oh, that's good.
Yeah, we should probably hammer out an AE at some point here.
That
I have thoughts. I have thoughts about Galaxy's Edge. One of those thoughts is that I loved it. I picked up Sabak, the card game that Han Solo played to win the Millennium Falcon. I picked up a copy of that. Uh, Not really a game I can play with my kids because it's sort of like poker. It's like Star Wars poker, and they don't get the whole concept of like betting and bluffing and all that stuff. So,
you know, you want to hear this is how good my kid is. Even though yeah, he watches horror and Rick and Morty and has watched me play Grand Theft Auto. Uh he was watching me play Grand Theft Auto the other day, and I was just in the casino and I was playing blackjack, and I was teaching him. I was like, this is how the game is played. Uh, this is how blackjack is played. And he went to Chelsea, my wife. I was like, later the next day, like, Mom, I learned how to play blackjack. Is that okay? Not gambling. She's like, no, that's fine. Like, you're not
it's
really
fine.
gambling.
Yeah. And then
And then
cut
he goes,
to, cut to the game. It's,
"What's
21
that?
high card. Here, let's everybody ante up. Here we go. Here we go.
This is three card rummy." Is that a thing? I don't know.
Uh,
Coas asks that they'll be at Galaxy's Edge next week, and what your
n-
thoughts?
Neat. Yeah. I next week will probably be insane. Very curious. I don't want. I mean, I don't need to know your specific travel arrangements, but are you going to be there after the 5th, specifically in the Florida location? Because I believe that is when the Rise of Resistance ride opens in Galaxy's Edge, which is for me the big thing that I missed out on is the premier attraction. Aside from Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which was a ton of fun. And as a person, way that they have positioned it and worked that queue line for the attraction, you get to see the it is something that I'm sort of upset I'm gonna miss. But yeah, for the quick summary on Galaxy's Edge, I thought it was outstanding. They did a great job with a lot of the theming and making everything look awesome. I went to Olga's Cantina, which is the bar in Galaxy's Edge. I had a what was it? A fuzzy tauntaun, which has the foam on top of it that makes your lips numb. It was a tasty drink, and the sensation of like Novocaine on your lips was kind of weird, but at the same time fitting for an alien bar. The cast members in Galaxy's Edge do a great job of sticking to the theme as well. They have a specific lingo that they use where instead of saying good morning, they say bright suns, or instead of hello, they say bright suns. The common, like, instead of goodbye, they say till the spire. They don't talk about money, they only talk about credits. And they really talk about things on planet and within the world, and try not to break that character, which is fun. I got harassed by stormtroopers, which was pretty awesome. My youngest was wearing a Darth Vader dress, and Chewbacca walked by and did one of these at her, like he was watching her, because she looked like Darth Vader. So the cast members and the characters that they have do a great job as well. one other thing that I'd really recommend is if you're going to be in Galaxy's Edge is to download the Disney Parks. I think it's called Disney Play Parks app, and Play Disney is what it says on my phone. But it's an interactive app. You can use it for a lot of attractions, but specifically in Galaxy's Edge, it turns your phone into a Star Wars data pad and allows you to interact with lots of things throughout the land. Like, what?
What is what I'm saying? Like, what?
Oh, yeah. So there's like jobs that you can take in the app, and it'll tell you to go and hack a panel next to a door, and you can get credits for that. Or you can go scan an antenna, and there's these large antenna that if you scan it and unlock it, the thing actually like lights up and makes sound, and so there'll be people just kind of hanging out. Become like light side or dark side, sort of more for the Resistance or more for the Republic, depending on the jobs that you take on. But yeah, it is not a $50 interactive Harry Potter wand. It is a free app for your smart device. But it was a lot of fun. They have something that throughout the Millennium Falcon line, you can like scan crates and try and decode what's in them and earn credits that way. So it's a fun way to pass the time if you're spending a lot of time in Galaxy's Edge as well.
Man, you like basically have a full write up for it.
Yeah,
That's
we
it
should have recorded this and just released it as another episode.
It must have left an indelible mark on your soul.
I enjoyed it a ton. I had the blue milk. The blue milk was really tasty.
Was it really?
Yeah, no, I thought it was really good.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this before, you and I, but really, it was tasty, huh?
Yeah, so the blue milk that they sell at the milk stands is sort of like an icy slushy. It is a plant-based, non-dairy milk, so I think it's coconut milk. But it has like a fruity, sort of like Fruit Loops flavor to it.
I like coconut.
So that was really good. I didn't try the green milk because I got the blue milk. I also shelled out a ton of money for these bad boys, which I will roll back to my Star Wars section of my office and grab.
Okay, there he goes. He's coming back. Here he is.
But these are the $6 soda bottles that you can buy. I bought a Coke and a Diet Coke. I also have a Sprite, but my son drank the Sprite, and he's claiming it as his own. So I will go and steal it from him at some point. But had no problems with TSA, despite the early scares related to these things. But yeah, these things, I think, if they have the soda in them and are unopened, I think are going for like $25 on eBay or something.
Oh shoot, yeah. I mean that makes sense.
Yeah,
bastards. I say bastards, but I mean, if I thought about it, I probably would have tried to do it.
The Sabacc game that I bought, which was like $16, I was looking up like rules for it online because the rules are pretty clear, but there's like one. I've seen a different forms of playing it online.
Yeah.
And so as I was looking it up, I realized that that game is going for like 40 something bucks on eBay as well, if you buy the version that they sell in the parks.
Oh. Well, just like everything else in Disney World or Disneyland, it's so expensive in or out of the park. So
yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm glad to not be paying Disney prices for everything again.
Do they have Simpsons stuff there?
Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Universal still has that license.
Exactly. Yeah. Which I did go into a Universal Studios gift shop in the Orlando airport. Mm-hmm. They have so much cool Simpsons stuff, and so much cool Duff beer stuff that I if I hadn't spent like a week's worth of money already, I may have picked up a couple of things in there. They had a great mug that was Homer Simpson's head,
Yeah.
and it's like only half of it's a mug, and the bottom his mouth is open, so you can put cookies in his mouth, and then fill the top with like milk and just go to town.
Yeah. Well, I still
What'll they think of next?
well, I still have Universal passes. I really should stock up on Simpsons merch.
I
Uh,
mean,
because with Disney Plus coming out, I need to start catching up on old episodes of The Simpsons.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something else that we'll have to discuss on a future Apathetic Enthusiasm is the phenomenon that is Disney Plus and some of the
Oh
series
yeah.
that have come out on there.
That's basically what we'll probably need to talk about on our next
It'll
set.
be a Disney episode of
Yeah.
Apathetic Enthusiasm,
Yeah.
pretty sure.
For sure. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, I think. Donuts. I forgot where I put the chat. It's up there now. Okay. Well, I think we're good to go. I still have to edit and do all this post type stuff, but I want to say thank you everybody for hanging out. That's bitching. It's bitching to have it's bitching. How old am I? Born in
Okay,
'82.
boomer.
It's so cool to me having folks in here just hanging out and shooting the shit with us. Uh, even though,
Absolutely.
even though it was you doing all the talking in the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. I got a challenge for you guys, and we're gonna hit the social media here over the next couple weeks. But you guys, and I don't know if it was you specifically, but the community at large did a great job of helping us get that final push on the YouTubes to get over 100 subscribers, and that continues to grow, and we appreciate that. But you guys on Twitch, we're falling behind, and I'd love for us to hit 50. I don't know, what is it, follows, because it's not subscribers on Twitch, but we're not far off. I think we're only 12 away from hitting the big 5-0. So if you know anybody that uses Twitch regularly, if they want to follow us, or maybe if you know somebody that listens to the show and does not follow along with the live feeds, tell them about how much fun you're having doing Mad Libs and talking about theme parks with Brandon and Travis, and see if they'll follow along over on the Twitch as well.
I'll become
Uh, hmm?
we'll become rugged.
So rugged. We'll become so rugged. Well, what running up that what is it? Janitor
Mom and dad are driving me up the janitor.
driving me up the janitor. Statutory rape.
So, yeah. All right.
Uh, this is a motel. People don't come here because their life's going great. Deal with your own problems.
Hmm.
All right, that's it. That's enough from us. Yeah, no episode next week. So we'll figure out what's going on. Probably not a live stream episode Sunday night, but we will have some sort of podcast for you on Monday, whether that is Interdimensional RSS or Apathetic Enthusiasm. There will be one.
Something, by goodness gracious.
Most deaf, and yeah, so that's it. We're the only people I can actually discuss the show with. Yeah, sorry about that. I get it. So
Oh my god, why is this backing up? A stupid thing. Being fucking. I'm trying to do the post.
Brandon's having a real hard time with his computer, guys. Let's
Oh my gosh.
all wish him well. All right, that's it from us. Thank you so much. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy the holiday. Eat lots of food. Send us stuff online on Twitter. Send us pictures. Send us pictures of stuff.
Pictures of your food. Yeah.
I don't know.
That would be great. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you a picture of something that uh, that I have. Here we go. This is what I do at work. This caption says,
It's really hard to read. There it is.
when
When your joke ruins a conversation, but you know it was amazing.
Classic Simpsons.
I'm surprised that's not tattooed on your body.
When people are at work and they're just like talking and they're just like they're like, they're not doing actual work. We're just bullshitting, which I'm good with. We all bullshit for a lot. And then I walk over to them and then I non sequitur, and they're like, "Oh, there's CK again. There's
Good.
Conversation Killer Cruise."
Brandon's here. Great.
Yeah. And I say, "Cool. Now get back to work."
Schlubs. All right. That's it for us. Until next time, I'm out. Bye. I'm Brandon.
I'm Travis.
Later.
Here it is. It's a podcast from Apathetic Enthusiasm. You asked for it. Here it is. It's a podcast from you. You asked for.